and securely mounted. Slack adjuster. No broken, loose, or missing parts. The angle between the push rod and adjuster arm should be up to a 90-degree angle. Brake drum linings. Checking for cracks or holes on the drum. No missing or loose bolts from inner wheel assembly. Checking brake shoes or linings for adequate thickness. Checking drum and linings for contaminants such as oil. Airbag. Airbag is fully inflated. Checking for any damage such as cuts or frays or any leaks in the bag. Spring. Check for any missing, broken, or shifted springs. Spring mounts, front and back. Check for cracked or broken spring mounts. No missing or loose bolts, including the 4 U-bolts. No damage or missing bushings. Tires, TCP, tread. Tread depth on drive tires should be no less than 2/32 of an inch. Condition. Check that tread is evenly worn, no cuts or damage to tread or sidewalls. Stem and valve caps are not missing, broken, or damaged. Pressure. Checking for proper inflation, 95 to 105 psi, or tire manufacturer's guide. Checking between the tires that the rims are parallel to each other and that there is nothing lodged in between the tires. Rims. Check for damaged, cracked, or bent rims. No repair weldings. Lug nuts. Check that all the lug nuts are present. No loose nuts. No cracks, spidering, or wallowing from the lug bolt holes or distortion of the bolt holes. Axle seal. No signs of leaking from the flange seal. If axle has a hub oiler and a sight glass, check oil level. Fifth wheel assembly. Mounting bolts. Check for loose or missing mounting bolts on the brackets and slider rail. Both fifth wheel and slide mounting appears solidly attached in place. Fifth wheel platform. Checking for cracks, breaks, or broken welds in the platform structure which supports the fifth wheel skid plate. Skid plate has no cracks or breaks and is well greased. Release arm. Release arm is fully retracted and in the engaged position. Safety latch and locking jaws. Checks that the fifth wheel locking jaws are securely locked around the shank of the kingpin, and the safety latch is also engaged alongside with the locking jaws. Locking pins, sliding fifth wheel. Look for loose or missing pins in the slide mechanism of the fifth wheel. Make sure locking pins are fully engaged. Check that the fifth wheel is positioned properly so that the tractor frame will clear the landing gear during turns. If slider is air powered, check for any air leaks in line. Kingpin, apron, and gap. Checking that the kingpin is not bent. The trailer apron is not bent, cracked, or broken. Check that the apron lies flat on the fifth wheel skid plate with no visible gap between the apron and skid plate. Lights and reflectors on rear of tractor. Checking for the operation of the lights. The brake lights work. The reflectors and lights are clean and lenses are not broken. Trailer pre-trip inspection. Header board. Checking that the header board is free of damage, such as cracks, bulges, or holes, is adequate to contain or hold cargo in the event of a panic stop. If header board is equipped on a flatbed type trailer, it must be secure, free of damage, and strong enough to contain cargo. Canvas or tarp carrier, securely mounted and lashed down. Clearance lights and reflectors. None are missing or broken and clean, that they are of the proper color, amber. All are operational. Landing gear. Checking that the landing gear is fully raised. Crank handle is present and secured. Support frame is not bent or buckled. No missing bolts or broken welds. The landing pads are not damaged. Frame. Checking frame and cross members for any breaks. No holes in the floor or box of the trailer. Lights and reflectors on the side. Check that none are missing, broken, of proper color, and operational. Sliding rear tandems. All locking pins are completely through rail holes. Release handle is in the locked position and safety pin is in place. Brake chamber. Not cracked or dented and securely mounted. Slack adjuster. No broken, loose, or missing parts, including cotter keys and pins. Check the angle between the push rod and adjuster arm for proper brake adjustment. Should be up to a 90-degree angle. Brake hoses. Check for cracked, worn, or frayed hoses and secured couplings. Springs. Check for any missing, broken, or shifted springs. Spring mounts. Check for cracked or broken spring hangers, front and back, missing or loose bolts, including 4 U-bolts. Brake drum. Checks for cracks or holes. No oil present on drums. Brake shoe. No oil present on shoe of adequate thickness. Tires. Tread condition and pressure. Tread depth should be no less than 2/32. Condition. Tread is evenly worn, no cuts, nails, or damage to tread or sidewall. Make sure that valve caps and stems are not missing, damaged, or broken. Pressure. Proper tire inflation should be between 95 and 105 psi or tire manufacturer's guideline. Spacing. Making sure there is space between the tires, nothing lodged in between the tires. Rims. Check for damaged, bent, or cracked rims. Should not have any welding repairs. Lug nuts. Check for missing or loose nuts, no rust trails, cracks, spidering, wallowing, or distortion of bolt holes. Hub oil seal. See that the hub oil seals are not leaking. If equipped with hub oiler and sight glass, check that the oil level is of adequate level. Trailer doors. Doors are not bent or broken. Hinges secure. Latches secure and fully closed. Weather stripping not damaged. Check for seals or locks. Lights and reflectors on the rear. Clean, none are missing or broken and of proper color, red on the rear. Check the running lights, the brake lights, the 4-way flashers, and the turn signals when applied. Splash guards. Check that the splash guards or mud flaps are not damaged and mounted securely. In-cab inspection. Clutch and gear shift. Push clutch all the way down and hold. Gear shift should be put in neutral position. Keep depressed until engine reaches idle speed, then release clutch slowly. Oil pressure gauge. Checking if the oil pressure gauge is steadily building to normal range as soon as the engine starts. Amp or voltmeter. Checks if the gauge shows alternator or generator is charging and warning light is off. Temperature gauge. Gauge should begin to climb to normal operating range or temperature light should be off. Steering play. With engine running, turn the steering wheel from left to right. There should not be more than 5 to 10 degrees of free play. Safety belt. Check for properly secured, mounted, and adjusted seat belt. Lighting indicators. Check that the dash indicator light, making sure that all illuminate for the left turn signal right turn signal, four-way flashers, headlight high beams, fog or driving lights. Wipers and washer. Check for wiper operation, check for washer fluid. Heater and defroster. Check that the heater and defroster work. Windshield. Check windshield to make sure it has no cracks, dirt, or any illegal stickers or obstructions to view. Mirrors. Checks for proper adjustment, not cracked or loose. Visibility not impaired due to dirty mirrors. Horns. Checks that the electrical and air horns work. Air brake systems check and pump down. Air brake checks. Air loss. With the engine running, driver builds the air pressure to the governed cutout 100 to 125 psi. The driver then shuts off the engine, chocks the wheels if necessary. Release the tractor protection valve and parking brake by pushing them in. Fully apply the foot brake and hold it for 1 minute. Checking the air gauge to see if the pressure drops no more than 4 psi's in 1 minute's time. Alarm. Without restarting the engine, driver turns the key to the on position. The driver begins fanning off the air pressure by rapidly applying and releasing the foot brake. The low air warning devices, buzzer, or light should activate before air pressure drops below 60 psi. Brake application. Driver continues to fan off the air pressure. At approximately 40 psi on a tractor-trailer combination, the tractor protection valve and parking brake valve should pop out. Parking brake. Red knob is pushed in and parking brake yellow knob is out. Put truck in low gear and gently tug forward, making sure that the parking brake is holding. Lights. Checking lights on the front of the truck. Headlights, low and high beam, the left turn signal, the right turn signal, the four-way flashers, marker lights and fog lights. Also checking these lights on the rear of the tractor, and the side of the trailer, and the rear of the trailer.